Hello once again, Star Wars and Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show, Sideshow / Hot Toys Retrospective. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, and today we're going to look at two items we're kind of continuing our look into some past releases by the Sideshow action figure company. And we're going to do actually the kind of bookends of the Skywalker saga. And we'll start with the farm boy Luke Skywalker. So this is kind of, I gotta say that we're getting into some slightly different types of setup here. We have if you look here, we got a nice little nameplate base. So this, I don't think this came out before the next one. I think the next one was actually later, but they could all have come out like in the same year, and they just made some changes mid-year. So I'm not really sticking to physical release, because the other thing is that whenever I purchased these figures, I usually did the layaway, payment plans. So sometimes they'd come out, but I wouldn't get them for months and months after they came out because I was paying them off a little at a time. So now anybody new or who has grown up with the Star Wars, I'll say second or third, or I guess in this day and age, fourth generation Star Wars fan might not recognize this Luke Skywalker figure per se, okay? First of all, he never wore those goggles. He never wore that goofy sort of Gilligan's hat. He did wear the poncho. There was one quick scene when he was putting it on and when they went to go to the Falcon, and he had on the nifty little poncho. But this is actually from a deleted scene, and it was a scene that early on, the original script had Luke being featured and introduced very early in the movie. Shortly after the Rebel blockade runner was being attacked, he was actually down in on his farm, in his moisture farm in the desert there, with a droid working on a moisture evaporator. And then he looked up and he had his little binoculars. You can see he's got the binoculars in his hand there. And he actually looked up and he could see a battle taking place, or what he thought was a battle taking place up top. So he goes and that's when he goes and he runs into all of his friends at the Tashi station, and all of his buddies are there, and he runs into Biggs, who had left, but he came back. If you want to get a good idea of the story, they have deleted scenes. You can see them all on YouTube. But they also have, you can get kind of a gist of it from the Star Wars radio drama, which is really great. There's like 13 hours of extra story, or full story, which is another 10 or so hours of extra story that kind of fleshes it out. It's all considered legend now because they've since done different things. But anyway, we're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the figure. The figure itself, pretty cool. The hat, comes off very easily, and you can see we take his goggles off. You got they're starting to get really nice likenesses of Luke, complete with hat head. All right, but and the poncho is what they have this kind of movable thing where you can actually bend the edges of this thing, so you can have a little bit more fun with the posing of it. If I were to take that off, I'm not going to do fully, but if I were to take it off a little bit, you can see that he's got his normal, what we're used to, tunic. He also includes a gun, a rifle, similar to what the Sand People have. And like all Sideshow figures, he comes with, I'm trying to see something here. Is that Sideshow? Lucasfilm? Yeah. He comes with some accessories. He has his binoculars. He does not have a lightsaber. Oh, no, yeah, he has his droid collar there. That's what that is, right? And he has, his belt pouches, which actually open up. You can actually put stuff in. So it's a really great character, and I love the moldability of these soft goods, because it really lets you set them up in any way you want. I pretty much keep it pretty traditional, and just kind of keep him kind of locked into his normal pose. But as I said, there may come a time when I decide I'm going to try to have a little fun with that and do something else. So that is Moisture Farmer Luke. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the opposites. Okay, so if we have the Luke Skywalker. Then we have to have the arch enemy, the father, although we wouldn't know it at this point, and that is the 2009 Darth Vader action figure. Now, this is, I believe, the first release of a Vader figure, so I definitely wanted to get a hold of that. There have been since other releases. In fact, I actually pre-ordered one other release, and that is for, I believe it's going to be the Anakin from Obi-Wan, where you can get his armor partially off and stuff and reveal Anakin's face, which I thought would be a nice alternative one to do. This is a fantastic. This is like a deluxe figure. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be very hesitant. I'm going to talk about a few things. Number one, I want to point out his little silver cap on this side. It's actually missing on this side. When I first put it together and took it out of the case, that was not present. I chose not to make a big deal of it because these are not toys these are not monetary investments where I am going to try to resell them. I mean, I might someday try to resell them, but when I do, they will be resold as displayed items. So they all are going to have wear and tear. So I just chose to let it go. I have enough things in my life to stress over. I don't need to stress over that. I will say that another thing that you have to be very careful with the early armor kind of things is that his mask, the piece of it is actually barely hanging on. It actually popped off when I got it out, when I took it out of the display. So that's sadly a little bit of a downside with the high-end collectibles like Sideshow and Hot Toys, is that all of the mechanics and with all that detail, in order for them to do it, I guess they have to do it with very brittle and delicate plastic and styrene and things of that nature. And sometimes it basically comes apart, and you have to be very, very gentle with it. I've struggled with that. I mean, I don't consider myself a bull in a china shop, but I do, get a little bit clumsy at times, and it's hard for me to do. So you can see that my right, your left side of the screen, you would actually see, it could be reversed now, now that I think about it, but this side, you can actually see not only is the silver piece missing, but it is, if I handle that too much, it's going to pop off. So as you can see, but his detail's great. I kept him in his fist, like he's doing something with the Force, or join me, or whatever. And you can see he's got his lightsaber hanging from the belt. I mean, you can have him have an active lightsaber, but I chose to instead just have it be like this. As I said, there will be a future episode, I'm sure, where I start taking all these. After I go through my whole retrospective, I will go back and do some repositioning to see if we can get them into more diorama poses. But for now, we're just posing them like this. So he comes with his chest plate, his inner tunic, outer cape, belt, codpiece, boots, with the shin guards at the top there. So really great, beautiful release of this. If you were to, I have no longer kept the collector series. I remember when the collector series, Hasbro collector series figure came out. I thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread, because of the fact that, he had all of the armor and he had like loose pieces, but comparatively his helmet was all missized and it was too small for his whole body. It was just sad, so I have no longer kept that in the collection because this thing takes up a much prouder place. That's kind of what I'm doing these days. I'm trying to find what I feel is the ultimate version, or versions, a few versions of each figure, each character, and just trying to set them up like that. So there is our Vader, formerly known as Anakin Skywalker, and our moisture farmer Luke before they meet. And honestly, this was so exciting. Here we were getting even more. We were starting to delve into even more realistic looking characters. And here we were delving into armor. We started playing around with armor and really starting to take it to the next level. Of course, it also took it to the next level when it comes to the expense, but we won't get into that. Anyway, so that will do it for this episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. Like and subscribe, hit the notification, do all that other jazz. Spread the word about the channel, folks. Check out all the other content on Red 5 Network. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you.